What's up, everyone, and welcome to That Crypto Hustle, a community podcast and a one-stop shop where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and hustlers share their blockchain and cryptocurrency expertise. I'm your host, Luna Vega, a digital marketer turned crypto addict, and my goal is to help spread blockchain and cryptocurrency awareness, all while fostering collaboration between all of us. If you dig the show, make sure to give us a review on iTunes, all while following us on Instagram, YouTube, and or Twitter. Let's do this. Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome to another episode of That Crypto Hustle podcast. Super excited. Today's guest, Shawn Hebert.
Shawn Hebert.
Yeah, I said it correctly.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
It only took a few trials. But that
was the second try, yeah.
That was the third try, or fourth, I don't know. He's the founder of JustLearnCrypto.com. Actually got to meet him at the Coinsbank blockchain cruise that was happening in Barcelona in September 2018. Thanks for being on the show. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't actually get time to hang out on the cruise.
It was nonstop. There was so much going on.
I think I slept 10 hours total combined throughout that entire cruise. So,
yeah, exactly.
It was fun. It was a good time. Actually, you were right in front of me in line when we were boarding from Barcelona onto the ship. So, I remembered seeing you there. But then we never just bumped into each other on the boat. It was a pretty big boat. So
no, but I saw Ken and I stopped him. I was like, I love your socks. And we hit it off, and I got to interview him. I have to post the interview. It's been... It's on my to-do list. So,
good.
Shawn, tell me, how did you get started in the wonderful world that is crypto? How did you first hear about it?
So I first heard about it, I think, back in 2015. And it was kind of just like I heard about it passing through I used to go to a lot of MLM and conference meetings. I never joined an MLM in my life, but I used to go and network because those are the kind of people that are looking to make money on the side. So those are my kind of people. And then I heard about a company called Gladia Coin. I want to say Gladia Coin. Mm-hmm. And total Ponzi scheme, scam, MLM, just like BitConnect or USI Tech or any of those other scams. But so I never got involved in that company, but I started looking into Bitcoin. I did door-to-door sales for like almost 8 years. So I was always kind of working off commission and doing kind of weird jobs that wouldn't be, not working for an hourly pay, so to speak. So I started looking into Bitcoin more. Door-to-door actually got banned where I live. So like my 7-year career went out the window. And I was kind of floating around. I went into business-to-business sales for a social media marketing company. So basically selling like a marketing package. It was still up my alley, but I wasn't really passionate about it. It was kind of hollow. My days were kind of hollow. I wasn't super in love with social media marketing. It wasn't my reason to wake up in the morning. And I was always looking for that reason. With door-to-door, I was able to build a team. I've trained, well over 1,000 people in door-to-door sales, and that was what I loved about it. I loved training and teaching people and mastering a skill and then finding a way to pass that skill on to other people. I mean, it's empowering. You're giving a power, like sales, for example. That's a transferable skill that you can bring with you the rest of your life. And there's no other place other than door-to-door sales that you can learn like the caliber of handling objections and sales and how to interact and communicate with people. Like to learn it quickly. Door-to-door, I recommend everyone do like a month of door-to-door in their life. Like, go get told to fuck off. Go get a door slammed in your face. Like, learn how to take rejection.
It should be an entrepreneurial boot camp, right?
It should, because, like, honestly, like, do it. I did it for 7 years. I live in Canada. I got snow up to my chest for 4 months out of the year.
Wow.
And I did 12-hour days for 7 years and, managing teams and, but so always had that entrepreneurial spirit. Didn't have necessarily 100% of a why. I didn't have like that big reason to work my ass off to my full potential. And then Bitcoin just kind of like came back into my life again, towards the end of 2016. right when door to door was getting shut down. And it just caught my attention a little bit more. So I dove into it and became literally addicted to crypto. Like I didn't sleep for a solid week. I was just watching every video that I could watch and just ordered Andreas Antonopoulos' book off the internet and like read that 10 times, and like literally it was an obsession. And then I found a company in Canada here called Netcoins, which offered a service called virtual Bitcoin ATM. So say at a corner store you'll have an ATM for Bitcoin. It's a big bulky machine. Excuse me. Netcoins has virtual ATM software. So you can run it on your phone. You can run it on a computer. There's zero cost for a store to start hosting a Netcoins ATM, as opposed to the physical machines, which sometimes you're paying $15,000, $10,000, $20,000 to buy one of these machines. And then you have to put your Bitcoin in that machine, keep the cash in the machine, maintain the machine if there's ever any problems. Yeah. But not only that, like you're storing your value in an ATM. If the price of Bitcoin crashes, and makes a correction like we've seen pretty much all year this year, you just lost half the value because your money was being held in an ATM. With Netcoins, you load your account with fiat. So if you put $5,000 onto a Netcoins ATM, you're holding $5,000, not $5,000 worth of Bitcoin.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because literally yesterday I came across a profile of someone who's selling ATMfranchiseopportunity.com. So okay. I didn't know that there was like a whole business model out of ATM franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This kid's name is John King Madrid. I never heard of him. And literally, I was messaging a good friend of mine. I was like, this could be really interesting for the Bitcoin and crypto community, just because I've seen a few ATMs popping in. And I'm sure there's a couple of businesses, just like you mentioned, who are tapping into these opportunities.
They're big in Canada. They're big in Canada.
Interesting.
There's probably 50 of them in Ottawa, where I live. In Toronto, there's hundreds of them. The thing with them, though, is that the fees are kind of ridiculous on them. Like you can be paying up to, in Toronto, there's some of them that are set to 25% fee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for $100, you're getting $75 of Bitcoin. A lot of these ATMs too are turning into honeypots. I've read stories of ATMs being robbed out of stores because they're holding large amounts of cash, and also people think that they're holding the private keys, which they're really not. And then there's just a matter of the kind of people that go and use cash ATMs, right? So some stores don't enjoy those kind of people coming into their store to use the ATM and a lot of the times too, ATMs are bought by, drug dealers or criminals, people that are looking for a way to launder their cash, and they're using Bitcoin ATMs for that.
I see.
There's like it's an onion. Like you start peeling layers off, and it's crypto can still be a pretty dark place depending on what your involvement is on it. Because I first linked up with Netcoins, I became a virtual Bitcoin ATM. I kind of learned that side of the industry really easily, because what I used to do, I had cheaper rates through my virtual ATM than the machines here in Ottawa. So I would find the busy ones and just go park my car out front. And anytime I saw someone go to that ATM, I'd stop them and be like, hey man, I work for this company. I actually have a better price. And I can actually help you do some other things in the crypto space. Have you started trading? Do you have an account on Binance? Are you doing this? Have you checked this out? Are you using two-factor? And then I built up a clientele of over 1,000 people that I've actually on-ramped into crypto over the last year and a half.
And people didn't give you like the weird look, like, who's this shady guy who starts talking to
I don't give a fuck. Then I'll wait for the next one. I don't care. Not every apple on the tree is going to be good to eat.
That's
you know what I mean?
You're a true crypto hustler. I got to give it to you. I mean, that's really smart. So essentially, like, that's kind of what brought you in, just enabling people to teach them about trading, and also, like, obviously giving them better rates and whatnot. So then what happened right after that?
So this was like last summer, okay? So I was building up a clientele, selling as much Bitcoin as I could. I did a lot of due diligence into the last like 7 years of crypto, and had a pretty good feeling through the people I was communicating with. Like, we're talking a year ago, I started following Omar Baum, Ken Bozak. Like these were guys that I was just following and learning from. And now these are guys that I hang out with all the time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I realized that there was more to crypto than just selling Bitcoin. There had to be more opportunities out there. So I started looking at like what's lacking in this space. From my side of things, having brought in at that point a few hundred people, it was the hours that it took every single time that I went from bringing someone to, I don't know what Bitcoin is, to I'm comfortable with storing my private keys. I'm comfortable with using a hardware wallet. I have my account set up. My 2FA is backed up. Like all that simple stuff that once you know it, it just seems remedial. But to someone who's new to the space, like it's super complicated to get all that shit set up and do that due diligence on your own.
Yeah.
And then like you're talking 2 hours at least to get someone initially set up to store Bitcoin properly. And then there's the follow-up questions that come a week later, 2 weeks later. Oh, should I buy this coin? What should I do with this? How do I do this? I lost my password. Like, it was just like, dude, I'm making like a couple % off selling you a couple $100 of Bitcoin. Like I'm not trying to work for free my entire life, you know?
Yeah. So you saw that there was just like a need, and a lot of people wanted to learn more about how to effectively trade and also safely store their crypto, but it was just too time consuming on your end.
Absolutely. And I don't trade like realistic. I don't really trade. I don't consider what I do trading. I don't day trade at all. I purchase coins. I've built a portfolio up with myself of about 30 cryptocurrencies. And most of them are just like gambling. Like I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a door-to-door salesman. Like if you're taking financial advice from me, you're a little slow. You shouldn't be. But I still saw just a need again for those first few hours where you really need to hold someone's hand. I wanted to digitize that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we're developing this course. And it's going to pretty much bring like, we're designing the entire thing to be grandma proof. So yeah. And we're going to beta test this on grandmas. So,
awesome.
So basically like if a grandma can do this course, and then she's got, her private keys secured, she's got everything she needs to just hodl. Mm-hmm. Then that's essentially the goal of what we want our course to be. There's a few other factors. We're doing a lot of business consulting here in Ottawa. We are still onboarding ATMs through Netcoin. So I've set up about 15 locations myself here in Ottawa. So you can go to a store or a restaurant or a bar and buy Bitcoin super easily, and a number of other currencies. When I first started with Netcoins, they only sold Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Now they've got about 15 different altcoins that are on there now, including Komodo, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, Ripple. So it is an exciting time right now. Like a lot of people in this space, like that got in maybe during the hype run last year when we pushed up to $20,000. That people got to remember that was all us. That wasn't banks. That wasn't institutions. That wasn't hedge funds. That wasn't organizations. That wasn't indexes. That was literally your uncle and your brother and all of us influencers that are like people like me that were helping everyday people get into the space. That's what drove the price up.
Yeah, retail investors, right. Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have such a big crash as well, because those are the people with the weakest hands. And people weren't being taught properly. People were being like, oh, download Coinbase, put your credit card in, buy Bitcoin. Now you own Bitcoin. No, you own an app that's showing some numbers that make you feel like you own Bitcoin. You're not in control, you know what I mean, of your keys through Coinbase, right? So we want to actually walk people through the steps of doing crypto properly so that you're actually 100% in control, in ownership of your private keys, and show them like once we get them through the basics, there's 10 other roads that you can go down. Maybe you want to go into trading. Maybe you just want to hodl. Maybe you're a salesman. You want to get lined up with a company that's looking for a brand ambassador or a marketer. Maybe you're a dev guy. Maybe you're a coder. Like we're creating a hub with all these companies that we're affiliated with, so that we can pretty much be a one-stop shop from education to wherever you want to end up in the crypto space.
So let me ask you, because right now there's just a lot of negative press and the market's been in the red zone for quite a long time. What can we do? It. We love it because it means that there's more opportunities. But what do you think we can do as a community to help more mass adoption? Because all these things are sort of going against the grain, if you will?
So here's the problem. People are so scared to tell people that they're into Bitcoin now because people are like, I mean, we all get the reaction, oh, you're still into Bitcoin? I thought it crashed.
Isn't that just a fad?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a catchphrase now. But the thing is that that's only if you're looking at it from its all-time high 9 months ago, right? You're not looking at it over. If you zoom out, we're right where we should be, right? So the number one thing I would say is go out and talk about it. Stop being scared to get laughed at. Who cares? If you invested in this and you're still in it through this entire bear market, you're either too stupid to know how to sell, so you're just holding on because you don't know how to sell it, or you still believe in what this is. And it blows my mind that people believed in this so much to get invested at 20,000. But now they're questioning it when it's at 6,000. When a year ago it was at 1,000.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's. I had an interview with John McAfee on Sunday, and he said something. He said, if people or regulations are, I forget exactly how he worded it, but regulations are to help stupid people. And then we got into a conversation of how we should take warning labels off to everything and let natural selection take its course.
That's evil.
But no.
So do you think the regulations is what's hurting the market?
I think uncertainty is hurting the market right now. I think not enough people know what's going on. I think people are getting conflicting information from the wrong sources. I think there's a lot of confusion going on. I mean, prime example, if you're brand new and you try to do your own research into Bitcoin, most people are going to go bitcoin.com, right? Like most people, right. I would assume. Then you're going to be learning about Bitcoin Cash.
Yes. Good point.
That's a fucking problem.
Yes.
But I mean, I think there's just a lot of confusion, and it's just like any new technology. I mean, I was in high school when Facebook came out. And I remember, I mean, me personally being like, this is the fucking stupidest thing ever. Like, why would people just put a picture of themselves up to get a like? It was so bizarre. And then it transformed into this money-making machine that it is now. Where it's stealing all of our data and selling it to third parties, and other companies have now cookie-cuttered that model, and they're doing the same thing. And now we've gotten to the point in humanity where data is more valuable than oil, it's more valuable than gold, it's more valuable than Bitcoin if it's leveraged properly. So that just goes to show that something can come out and look ridiculous, like something that no one would ever want to use, and it's never going to work, and it can turn into creating an entire new industry. And like that's what the internet did. Now we've got another layer on top of that. And I mean I have zero doubt in this. I have zero doubt. I'm all in on this space.
And there's also a lot of skepticism around whether or not we need blockchain, just because the argument being like, well, there's only so many different use cases and other technology could be used. But I guess personally, my response to that is the fact that, well, even if we're all wrong, which I really doubt, something else will transpire from this, and cryptocurrencies are here to stay. I really strongly believe that regardless, like this technology will stay in the long run. So, I mean, what are some of the other things you think, I mean, and also, I mean, it's really interesting, like you mentioned after your McAfee interview, the fact that, I mean, I saw him speak at the conference and he was very sort of anti-regulation and really enabling individuals to have complete access to their gains and currency. So what's your personal view on that? Like, I mean, especially now that you're wanting to have this platform available for grandmothers, like, what do you think would be sort of the ideal scenario for a grandmother?
It's a good question. So, I mean, I have a couple different views on this. I've got, Shawn in 20 years says, fuck banks. We don't need banks. We can live financially off the grid. Shawn, for the next 3 years, says, I need to use banks to run a proper business to get myself to 10-year Shawn when he can say, fuck banks. We don't need you. For a grandma, though, I mean, right now I think it's a matter of storing it safely and having and it being liquid when she wants it to be liquid or transferable. I mean, like, we got to look at, like, Bitcoin eventually is going to be something that's going to be signed into people's wills, just like stocks or shares of a company are. So there needs to be a better way to store private keys, but have it, and it sucks because we almost need a third party to facilitate that.
Right now, yeah.
And the whole point of right now, yeah. So again, it's hard to answer questions like that because I feel the solutions to the problems haven't been invented yet, and that people just need to have the patience. And if you don't have patience to wait for technology to come out, then you probably shouldn't be investing in technology products. But these things take time. I mean, humanity's on an S-curve. We really are. Like, we went from, 60, 70 years ago having, landlines and just slow technology, like microwaves were just coming out, you know what I mean? And I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't have a cell phone, to now toddlers are using tablets. Like, it's speeding up at an extremely quick pace. So I have no doubt that, like, the next 10 years is going to change crypto and the blockchain space. Blockchain, I agree with you. It's a buzzword right now. It's not needed in every industry. It really isn't. Every industry is trying to use it because it's a buzzword, and people are throwing money around at blockchain companies. There's all these VC companies that are like, oh, we're looking to invest in blockchain companies. So these companies are like, well, we don't need one, but let's just use one to get an investor. You know what I mean? It's actually at that point. And I can say that from personal experience. A friend of mine had an amazing business plan. We were talking about this like 3 days ago, and she'd met a venture capitalist, and he said, I love your business plan. Find a way to put blockchain in it and I'll invest.
Right.
Like, you
No
know what
comments.
I mean? Like, force it in there,
Yeah.
even though you don't need it. So
I've
mean,
actually been told the same thing, that I should create a ICO around my business model, which I'm
Me
like,
too.
well, I'm a media company. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
I know, like, yeah, trust me, I know. I've had the same conversation with investors where they're like, you should turn JustLearnCrypto into a coin. And I'm like, I don't need a coin.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't need.
the world doesn't need any more coins.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good point. There's 50 shades of crypto, if you will. So there's, I guess, the general public, which I agree with you. They're completely confused. Most people don't understand the use of Bitcoin, which is why people are like Kenneth are so important to explain the fact that he's living completely off crypto. Are you also, by the way? I forgot to ask you.
It's kind of hard where I live because in Canada, we don't have any debit cards. But yeah, more or less completely off of crypto. Some of the companies that I work with, they pay me in crypto. I pretty much live from bartering crypto and services and stuff. So, like, more or less, yeah, like, I don't get any really fiat income right now other than random commissions from here or there for different companies that I work with.
So how does that work for you when the price gets hit quite a bit and you have to exchange to fiat?
Well, I like to tell people I live my life a Bitcoin at a time. So, like,
That's
you
a
know,
good
like,
thing.
we're still
One Bitcoin at a time.
Yeah, I wish it was one Bitcoin at a time, but like, but yeah, so I mean, we're still, as a company, in our startup phases. We're pretty much all the money that's coming in is getting reinvested back into the company right now. My roommate actually, or like my landlord, lets me pay my rent usually in crypto unless he's like really hard up for cash. I mean, pretty much everything we do, like, we use coincards.ca to get Esso gas cards. We buy those with Bitcoin, and it's only a 5% fee. So we're able to get gas for the vehicle, munchies, cigarettes with the Esso gift card. I mean, there's not much that we can't do with crypto in Ottawa, which is really exciting, but it's not the case for other cities. It's not the case for places that are, rural places where they don't have the population that we have. So we have all these services, and that's what we do for consulting, is we go to a business that has nothing to do with Bitcoin or crypto, and we say, hey, there's a really easy and inexpensive way for you to tap into this new market of customers, increase the traffic, increase your brand exposure, and integrate crypto into your company. So through companies like CoinCards, companies like Canadian Bitcoins, Coin Payments, Netcoins, and JustLearnCrypto, we can come in and have your business, any business really, set up to have a Bitcoin ATM, buy and sell Bitcoin, to accept cryptocurrencies, whether it's 8 or 800 different currencies, convert that to fiat, have a digital gift card made for your company that people can go online, buy this digital gift card with crypto, and then take that digital gift card, spend it in the store. Even Buns. I don't know if you're familiar with Buns. They're based out of Canada here. But they're like a bartering app, and they have their own coin called Bits. And there's over 100 restaurants, barbershops, retail stores in Toronto that accept Buns. And you get $1,500 just for downloading the app. So it's $15 worth of coins. You pretty much get a free meal just for downloading the app, which is really exciting. There's all these services, all these companies that can empower any business to be crypto friendly. There aren't people like me going around introducing it to them.
No, you're absolutely right. And there's also, I know in the US, I spoke to these guys, I forgot the name of the company, which enabled you to go to different retailers in the US, like Starbucks, for instance, and being able to pay your Starbucks with your crypto, which is amazing.
I think it's called Bitcoin Superstore.
Maybe.
Something like that, maybe.
I have to double check. But essentially, you could do everything with your phone. So kind of like Apple Pay, but using crypto. Yeah.
So what it is, it's the same technology that CoinCards is using here in Canada, where they digitize a gift card. You purchase that gift card through the app or through the website, and then you have your account that has, if you put in $100, now you have $95 of credit for Starbucks, and then you go in just like Apple Pay, either through QR codes or NFC technology chip in the phone. You're able to pay just like Apple Pay or Smart Pay or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it is a really cool way to kind of get around not having a crypto debit card that's really working well. I know Ken uses BitPay, but we don't have one in Canada that works properly. Like, we don't have one that works here. I'd have to literally get an address in the US and get a bank account over there to get it set up. And it takes all the crypto out of the crypto. I mean, it's you're just using a Visa card. Like, it's completely linked to your name and address at that point. So there's no anonymous factor to it.
Right. No, definitely. So we have a long way to go. So what do you think right now, what we can do as a community to kind of help things move forward? And what do you think December is going to look like? I mean, if you were to just guesstimate.
Yeah. So number one, open wallets. Go out. If you're at a store and you're chatting with someone, do you have a Bitcoin wallet? No. Here, download this one. I'll show you how it works. Give someone $1 of Bitcoin. Is it going to break your life if you give $1 out? I've given out thousands of dollars of Bitcoin for free all over the world just to get people to download a wallet. If you're invested in this technology, it's an amazing thing that you can actually impact the price of it. I mean, last year, throughout that bubble that we had, it was almost completely correlated to the number of wallets being opened.
Interesting.
Right?
I didn't know that. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So open wallets, get your friends to open wallets, give out some crypto, get people learning. As soon as JustLearnCrypto.com is launched, get them to that site.
When is that going to be launched?
We're aiming by New Year's.
Awesome.
It'll be launched by New Year's. The full site will be up and operational. We're just creating all the content right now and also doing the podcast. If I had to guess, are you asking what Bitcoin's going to be, or what the total market cap of crypto in total? Let's see,
December. What do you think? Is it going to go back up, or are we going to be all-time low again?
I'm not. Who knows? No one knows. There's no experts in this space.
No one knows. I'm just asking for a guesstimate.
No, I know, and I'm not going to give one though, because I have no clue. I mean, that's like asking me to predict the weather. I have no idea what it's going to be like tomorrow.
Tomorrow should be sunny.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, no, I have no idea. I mean, I thought we were going to be out of this bear run already. But it's like any stock or any investment. It's completely affected by the news, by what people perceive of this technology. And here's the problem, and I explain this to everyone in a really simple way. Who owns the media companies? Banks and governments. Who is scared of Bitcoin? Banks and governments. Why are you trying to get your information about technology from a media company owned by the competition of what you're invested in? And that's the problem, is that people are flipping on CNN and people are getting their information from the guy in the drive-through window or from the guy pumping your gas. And there's a lot of sheeple out there. There really is. There's not people that think for themselves. People will take the first opinion they get of something. And that's why 99% of the population works a job and 1% of the population chase their dreams and become entrepreneurs.
But you brought such a relevant point when we started this conversation. It's almost like history repeats itself, right? So when Facebook came out, no one knew what to do with it. When Instagram came out, I remember I was like one of the first person to download it. I was like, okay, this is cool, posting pictures, but same concept. I had no idea how to use a platform. And if you just look back in retrospect, you tell yourself, well, if I would have been more involved from the beginning and been a true believer, I probably could have had opportunities. But because you sort of took your time and didn't really know and doubted it, then nothing came out of that. So I think that's why there's a lot of individuals who are just really excited about blockchain, not just because it's the next technology, but also knowing that anything can transpire from this, and we're just in it for the long ride.
And what I find exciting is the opportunity to smash borders down. I mean, yes. I really am an anarchist at heart. Like, I actually got suspended from high school for drawing an anarchy symbol on like 100 desks.
Did you really? That's so bizarre.
Yeah, I was like a punk back in high school. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, the fact that we can
Why
literally...
would they get you expelled for that? I mean, I guess, yeah.
No, suspended.
Okay.
It was like 3 days I couldn't come back to school.
Okay. They're trying to teach you a lesson.
Yeah, it didn't work. But yeah, I mean, it's just exciting that we can live financially off the grid eventually. I mean, maybe not right now. And maybe, I mean, I don't think fiat is going to really go away, but I think Bitcoin is going to hold its hand and they're going to work together. I think it's going to be a way to avoid a lot of third parties when traveling. I mean, I get gouged every time I leave Canada and pretty much go anywhere else in the world. I lose half my money just from exchanging it to euros or the US dollar. I think the idea of a one world currency is exciting. I think it's really exciting, and I think that we're spoiled rotten financially here in Canada and the U.S. In the sense that we have a bank on every corner, we have regulating bodies to regulate those banks, our money's insured, our money's protected. Yeah, it's a messed up system, and I would love to see the banking system get revamped or get reworked. But there's 2 billion people on this planet that don't have access to that.
It's leapfrogging, right? And it happened with social media as well. And a lot of different countries who didn't have access or weren't able to purchase laptop were a lot more savvier as far as like using their mobile devices versus their laptops. So with cryptocurrency, probably something similar is going to happen where countries like the US and Canada, like you mentioned, and Europe, where we don't necessarily need crypto as much because we have the banks and fiat, whatnot. We have other ways of going about it, but other countries will probably leapfrog.
So I have this analogy that I'm going to share with you, and I used to use this analogy with sales groups all the time. So if you were to put a bunch of fleas in a glass jar and put the lid on, they would all jump and they'd hit their head on that lid, and they wouldn't jump any higher than that, obviously, because there was a barrier there. If you take that lid off, they're still only going to jump that high, because that's the boundary that they set in their mind, that's all they can do. Until one of them jumps out of the jar, then all of them will. Bitcoin is that first flea to jump out of the jar once the lid's taken off. Bitcoin might be the biggest currency of the world. It might be the second or third. We don't know. We don't know what's going to come out down the road. All I know is that Bitcoin sparked an idea, and it opened up the jar. It jumped out of the jar, and it made people realize, why do we have all these third parties? Why are we creating borders? Why are we creating problems for people where problems don't need to exist? So no matter what, I feel like the outcome is going to be positive.
So what sort of a quote or something you'd like to share from all the information that you read and all the different books? What are some of the most heartwarming stuff or the stuff that gets you excited about the technology in general that you'd like to share with us?
6 words. Not your key, not your coin. That's it.
Not your key, not your... Okay. Why?
That's it. because it's when you hold your private key and you have your Bitcoin on that key, there is nothing in this world that can take that away from you.
Right, which is why you need to get them out of exchangers.
Exactly. And that's a powerful thing, that it really, really is, especially for, I mean, I've been robbed. I've had my house broken into in the past.
Really?
I'm just using this as an example, but it's a shitty feeling to not feel in control of your possessions. And that's just stuff. I mean, I've had, everyone's maybe had their bike stolen, or something's been taken, or they've even lost something accidentally. And it's a really shitty feeling. Now imagine if that was your land. Imagine living in a part of the world where you've been given this land and you've inherited it, or a house or a business or money or whatever, and all of a sudden it's gone or it's taken away by some corrupt party and you didn't have proof of ownership. And now we have a way to tokenize things that never used to have records. It's an exciting thing. It really is. And it's going to change the world whether people want it to or not. And yeah, just ignore the news. That's the best thing to do, is ignore the news and just believe. Just believe.
Just believe. Yes, I agree. So where can we find you on social media?
So I am everywhere. I'm like Wi-Fi. No, I'm on Twitter. You can follow me at The Canadian, with 3 N's at the end. So like The Canadian. I'm on Facebook under Shawn Hebert. I'm on Instagram under The Real Shawn Hebert.
Because you have fake accounts already.
Well, I just made an Instagram account when Instagram came out, and I lost the password to it, so the names are all taken. Yeah, and then I mean, JustLearnCrypto is on every social media account as well, so you can search up JustLearnCrypto anywhere. We're building the community up right now. We've got an amazing community. We have a lot of influencers, a lot of people that are pretty high up in different companies that are contributing and helping us with content. So it's a great community to be involved in. Feel free to reach out to me if something doesn't feel right. If you think something's a scam, I've helped a lot of people avoid scams. JustLearnCrypto is actually partnering with the McAfee Alliance. I don't know if you're familiar with what that movement is, but
I'm not actually.
So the McAfee Alliance is a group of companies and people that are dedicated to fighting corruption. And helping people avoid corruption at all costs. So it's an organization that John started to basically help people that don't feel like there's anyone there to help them. So if there's an exchange that fucked you out of money, it doesn't matter. Bring it to them. Bring some proof to the alliance, and if we think it holds water, then we're going to help you fight for this against this corruption, whatever it is that's messing around with you. So I
want to bring something that you brought up really earlier about MLMs. Why is it that so many crypto and also mining is linked to MLM? What do you think that is? What's the reason behind it? And are all MLMs bad? Because not necessarily, right?
No, I don't think all MLMs are bad. I think 99% of them are bad, just like I think 99% of cryptocurrencies are stupid.
99.9. Not kidding.
Yeah, 0.99. So, I mean, it all comes down to the same reason door-to-door sales got banned in Ontario, where I live. It's not a problem with what's being sold. It's a problem with how it's being sold. Network marketing is a powerful, powerful, powerful way to get information out to the masses. But 99% of these companies take this amazing tool, but put it on top of a shitty product, or a company that put it this way: if the only way you can make money with an MLM is by bringing in 100 people, then it's bullshit. And I've gone, like, I'm like the Batman of meetups here in Ottawa. I go to meetups and I'll call out a scammer. There's so many people out here running meetups for pump and dump groups, and I'll go and erase the shit that they wrote on the board and put my contact information up. Like, I'm not afraid to call people out on that shit. So with MLMs, I mean, I've been to so many meetings. I never signed up for one. I went to look for the people that were critical thinkers, people that were looking at it without a rose-colored lens over their eyes.
Okay, but to be devil's advocate, so what about someone who's fresh on crypto and they're being, they're not looking at it with our rose glasses of like, woo, yay, future, and they're just feeling sketchy about it. Like, so what do we say to them?
Oh, about crypto or about an MLM?
About
So what do
crypto,
you?
because like you mentioned the fact that when you went to these MLMs, it didn't feel right. So I think for a lot of individuals, and also like, I mean, now it's much better, and I'm glad that the market is not at the all-time high, because December, I don't know about you, but my feed, like Mintcoin and all these like shady ass coins, where it kept on popping up in my feed, which essentially were MLM schemes, and it was such a sad thing to see. So the fact that the market's not doing so well is potentially a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Omar use a line that I really liked, and it was, throughout a bear market, you really get to see who's swimming naked. You know,
True.
so there's a lot of these companies that were full of promises. They had all the promises in the world for things they were going to deliver. Well, let's see how you do when there isn't money coming in from your coin pumping up in price. Do you guys have real investors? Do you guys have a real service that you've monetized that's making money for the company to help you survive through the inevitable bear markets that crypto brings? And a lot of these companies weren't, and that's why they're being delisted. I mean, 4Coins were just delisted off Binance yesterday.
Yeah, saw that.
That's going to be happening a lot. Like until we have decentralized exchanges. I mean, Andreas always said it best. We're in a cleansing period, and we will be for another few years. And people just need to strap in, hodl safely, and enjoy the ride. And I mean, if you're only in this to invest and wait for the coin to go up and then sell, then I mean, you're in a different boat than me. I mean, I'm looking for other ways to make money in this industry. A saying that comes to mind is, during a gold rush, sell shovels. Right?
Yes. I've heard that a lot.
I think a lot of people tried to make their money on trading, or make their money on referrals, like with MLMs. They tried to make their total income out of that. But that's like digging for gold, right? Like eventually you're going to run out of gold to dig. But people are always going to be digging. So if you're the one selling the shovels, then you're in a better position, right? So, I mean, the way I look at what we're doing with Just Learn Crypto is we're selling shovels. We're giving people the tools to help them figure out what they want to do in this space, whether it's they just want to be an investor or whether they want to really dive head in like I did and find a place to make a career out of it. We want to offer kind of that whole array of things on the site.
Empower them to learn more about the opportunities of cryptocurrencies. Love it.
There's so many. There's literally, it's endless. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's an exciting time. Like when someone like to be frank, I was like really not doing well before I got into crypto. After door-to-door got banned, I was living in my car for a couple months. Like it was bad, and crypto saved my life. It gave me something to wake up excited about every day. It gave me so many opportunities to connect with people. I mean, I went, within just over a year, I went from living in my car to hanging out with you on a boat cruise in Ibiza. You know what I mean? So it's really, I mean, if I can find my place in this space, anyone can. It's just a matter of if you want to, and if there's, what are you passionate about? What are you good at? How can you take the skills you've developed in your life before crypto came out and apply it into the space now? So I think the job market's going to change. I think it's this whole blockchain and crypto thing really sparked a lot of thought in the world, and it opened up a lot of people's minds, and that's going to have a ripple effect that's going to affect a lot of people.
Most definitely. Yay! Thanks for joining us, Shawn. What a great interview. So much fun.
Anytime.
Yay. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so I haven't been able to see.
I don't know. I'm trying to see if there's any questions right now. We have a few people are watching.
Oh, I'll mention something too. If people want to go to my Twitter account for Just Learn Crypto, we're doing a giveaway right now for a Ledger Nano S.
Yay! Awesome.
So the giveaway is being done through Gleam.io. All the directions are there.
I love Gleam.io. They're such a great tool.
Yeah, they're great. And enter, and maybe you'll win a Ledger Nano S.
Amazing. Yay. Thank you, Shawn. Well, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
And then we'll make sure to share with everyone the podcast. Guys, make sure to give us a like join our Facebook group as well. Bye, guys.
Peace.
See you, Shawn.
Bye.